Hey everyone, it's Jakov, and I'm back with a new video for Total War The Dawnless Days. In this case, it's going to be another video much like my last one in which a Dalian army goes head to head with an enemy army that it might be expected to face. In this particular case, it's going to be a Dalian Silver Tier 2 army, one that you'd expect to field maybe in the early to mid game, fighting off against an enemy army that such a force would fight, in this case an Easterling army. We're going to go through the battle replay, see how the two armies stack up compared to each other, and just see the battle go out. So yeah, there we are people. With that said, we'll put it into slow motion so we can check out the different armies, and we'll press play. So, looking at the Dalian army, it is led yet again by the same unit, the Lake Town Guards. A bit of a better unit to choose as general as far as I'm concerned. A pretty cool unit overall. The only polearm unit it can field. For the rest of their army, in their front line, they've got a unit of Vinland Watchmen, which is a piked unit fielded by the faction, and this is a special unit that can only be fielded, I think, at a max strength of 3, given that they're actually from the Vineland region of, oh god, what is the name of the place that these guys come from? The Vinlands of the East, whose name I am very much forgetting, which is a shame. I will remember them in time. If someone wants to correct me in the comments, feel free to, but we will get back to where these guys hail from. We then have the watchpost sentries making up the core of the army, and the watchpost sentries are kind of like the lower tier soldiers of Dale. Not quite as bad as the militia spearmen, but they're a bit of a step up above them. Still not as professional as the best infantry that they can field. Apart from that, at the back we've got a unit of shipmen, the first tier melee infantry that the faction can field and support. The far back we've got a unit of merchant escorts, which are the second tier cavalry unit. And, of course, in their front rows we've got archer units. In this case we've got a couple of units of yeomen, which are the same bronze tier archer unit. And the reason why they're fielding these guys for the most part is because the faction actually doesn't have a reliable source of tier 2 archers. And the second tier archer unit that they can field are these guys, the Vinland Yard Patrollers, who are the bow equivalent of the Vinland Pikemen, and still the name Dorwinion, that's it. These guys are the defenders of Dorwinion, which is a wine producing region of Middle Earth. That's what I was trying to remember. Apart from that, looking at their physical surroundings, the Dalians have set up a bit of fortification. We've got some caltrops set up to stop enemy attacks, and over here we've got more caltrops, so yeah, taking a very defensive move here. Looking at the Easterling force approaching, it's kind of a bronze tier army. No, it's a silver tier army. So looking at their force, they've got lots of archers, the runic archers, their second tier archer unit. They've got runic warriors in large amounts, and these are the standard infantry for them in the early to mid game. Coming up in support of them are a unit of shock troops, the runic savages, who look absolutely terrifying. And then behind them come a couple of units of clan raiders, which are their first cavalry unit. Behind that, we've got some units of clan spearmen, just as a bit of a precaution against any cavalry that Dale may field. And then right at the back, we've got the Warlords of Rune, their general unit. So yeah, here we have the armies approaching, and we'll see how it goes from here. Both sides are getting ready to deploy their archers. Generally speaking, the Dalian army is very defensive, so here we see the archer fire begins. Now, even though the Dalians actually have lower tier archers, because Dale field is really good bronze tier archers, actually quite useful. And it begins, the archer exchange. To this side, we can see the cavalry swinging around to attack. That side, we see the cavalry swinging around. I'll actually put it in slow motion so we can get a bit of an idea of what they're doing. This is quite smart. They're forcing the Dalian archers to retreat. Also, by the way, just to let you guys know, I'm playing as Dale in this battle, and the Easterlings is the computer. So yeah, if a bit of the strategies here seem a bit sloppy, because neither side is really playing to their absolute best ability. The other side, same pincer movement is being done. Archers are still deploying. Cavalry's trying to get ready to hit them. And they've started throwing their javelins. And, ooh, we can see that. It's killed a couple people, but not quite as effective. And they crash into the spear line. after they kill a couple cavalrymen, it's not that bad. Over here, they got hit by archers a bit, and now they hit the caltrops. Which do slow them down a bit.
The enemy is going for our general. Protect him.
And they kind of get intermixed with the archers a little bit, but because we've got the caltrops and our general unit here, they're kind of at a bit of a disadvantage now. So we'll put it back into fast forward. And yep, who would have thought the polearm unit is better than these starting cavalrymen. On the other side, they've crashed in, they've got an intermixed among the archers and the spearmen. And now the archers raining down death on these cavalrymen.
Enemy units have been rallied.
The other unit's almost broken, they're going in for yet another attack, the caltrops are doing their job. And the Lake Town Guard is kind of putting them in their place. And the archer fire rages on. Pikemen are putting a bit of distance between them and the main core of the enemy infantry. I'd like to see that. And a cavalry charge is now occurring. And given that the merchant escorts are heavier cavalry than the clan raiders, it kind of makes sense that this battle goes the way it goes. So they're breaking off. The other cavalry unit's been exterminated. And now the archers are free to rain down death on the enemy. Indeed they do. The merchant escorts barely lost anyone, and now they're about to hit the enemy cavalry. See what I mean about the sloppiness? We accidentally hit the caltrops. Now here you can see the enemies made a pretty grievous move. They've bunched themselves up. See, I kept the shipmen in reserve, which was kind of a stupid idea. I should have flanked them around to hit them on the side. But I was worried about the archers potentially raining down death on them. So now our cavalry has disrupted their archer line a bit. But because we only had one unit of cavalry, it meant that they could very much solidify their archers and rain death down us. And you're going to see that. These aren't the heaviest cavalrymen in the world. So all this archer fire is very much taking an impact on them. Already they've lost a quarter of their unit. And they're getting ready to send in their second line. See, I'm still wasting time. I should have just chucked them in. Pikemen are staying in the center just in case if they try and flank a hole through there. And we're kind of doomed. Because if we move these out of support, if we move these into support, these guys over here or here, we'll leave a big line right through the middle of our forces. But now the general is moving up to support. And our cavalry got caught out by the runic savages. Who they also countercharged, I should say. Which is why they're so low on numbers. I'll be honest though, a big part of why I didn't go as hard with the cavalry as I did in the last video, using them as I did against the goblins, is because I didn't want to keep winning the exact same way. Looking at the balance of power, both sides are fairly evenly matched. Even at the beginning, we were evenly matched more or less. They had a couple hundred extra soldiers, but that's not a massive amount. And here, the Warlords of Ruin are really showing themselves off. Just hacking through. Oh, that is brutal. Oh, the decapitation too, you gotta love that. Over here, the Lake Town Guards are now beginning to deploy. Pikemen are still in it, holding off the runic warriors. And now the charge finally comes. Should have done this ages ago. And these shipmen get stuck right in. And I do love this juxtaposition of the blue and purples of the shipmen and the red and gold of the clan warriors. It's just beautiful, and we'll put it in slow motion, and so we can kind of see them fighting with each other. You gotta love it. Really, man, I honestly do love this mod a lot. Best depiction of war in such great graphics as far as I'm concerned, at least Middle-earth's wars. Even if, you know, Attila itself could probably be a bit better. Still, Archer Fire after Archer Fire comes in. Now this is dangerous. The Runic Savages are about to take us in the rear.
Our men have given up and are running for their lives.
So yeah, we've got the clash of the generals. Pole arm versus shock infantry. Good God, this is just brutal as it comes. But now the archers are finally deploying. And sadly, the Runic archers are actually killing probably more of their general unit than they're killing my unit. These spearmen are giving their lives to hold off these Runic savages. They may not be the best of foot warriors, but then again, the Runic savages aren't that great either, all things considered.
The general has been killed. Excellent.
And he is down, the Warlord of Rune. What was he killed by? Was he killed by an archer or by one of my soldiers? I actually do not know. Now that their general's dead, we've got a mass rout. A couple of units are still fighting, but honestly our archer battery is just doing its job. Just hammering away at the enemy. Bird. Yeah, this bird flew by. It's a raven, that's pretty on point given that they often appear in battles in the north, you know, like the Battle of the Five Armies. And both sides keep hammering away. And there we have it, a close victory for the men of Dale. Now, finishing off the replay, let's look at the different army composition and see how each unit went. So as we can see, both sides took fairly heavy casualties. The men of the east definitely did worse. However, looking at the remaining soldiers, they honestly could have kept fighting and potentially turned the course of the battle, given that Dale's forces were very much depleted by that point. The only healthy units they had being archers. Look at the Lake Town Guards, he killed 156 units, including some of their tougher units like the General, so that's quite good. The Shipmen didn't do as greatly as I thought. This Watchpost Sentry unit did pretty good. So did this Watchpost Sentry unit as well, given that they are Spearmen, them racking up that many kills against units of equivalent strength is quite surprising. Watchmen did great. These Archer units actually did really poorly, all things considered. And then the Merchant Escorts got a hell of a lot of kills, so we like seeing that. Looking at the Easterling army, their general unit did great, as did, well, this Runic Warrior unit didn't do too bad, the rest of them did Their Clan Spearmen did poorly, and their archers generally didn't do that great either, nor did their cavalry. Really, they just were operating at a lower level of efficiency than the Dalian army was, even though they outnumbered them. And honestly, they had probably a richer variety of units to draw upon to win. So there we have it, a small Dalian defense force, you know, a bit more battle hardened than they were when they fought off the goblins. Maybe a couple of years later has finally beaten off an Easterling assault force from the east. And yeah, there we have it, people. If you've liked this video, please make sure to like and subscribe. We're quite a small channel here, so any little bit of support means the world to us. If you do enjoy this video, allow me to assure you that more videos like this will be coming up in the future, the near future in fact actually. So there we have it, people. This is your host Jakov, signing out.